criminal? How can you be classified as an armed career criminal?
The Armed Career Criminal Act consists of a convicted felon with a firearm in possession of a firearm or ammunition that has 3 predicate offenses committed on occasions different from another. And what that could mean, they got to be serious drug offenses or a crime of a violent felony. Right now, there was a case that came out right before I came home, like early last year, and that's just it. What does occasions different from another mean? It's really no definition to that. What does that mean? What is an occasion? If I make a sale right here today, then 15 minutes later I make another sale to the same agents, is that occasions different from another? According to the government, yes, because they were splitting them up. The lead case, what it was a guy, United States versus Wooten, where he had burglarized some buildings. He went into, I think it was, if I remember correctly, some storage units, each one. So what they did, they came back, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was 10 different storages. They wanted to consider each storage an occasion different from another.
What you mean occasion different from another?
Each time he went in one of a different storage, when he came out of one, went in another one, they were saying that was a separate occasions. So he had 10 predicates according to the government.
Okay.
So that was classified as an ACCA. Well, he challenged it, and the court came back and said, no, that was all one occasion, because he was committing a burglary. Although he went in those different buildings, they say that's one occasion.
Okay.
So therefore, he didn't have 3 predicates. That was considered one. So
did he do all of them the same day?
Yeah.
Okay,
they don't matter. They break them up.
Right.
You could make a sale right now, and then 15 minutes later you make another sale over here, and because you had 2 charges on your criminal complaint, according to the government, they were splitting them up. Okay. They'll take them and split them up because you had 2 convictions. So they would just count them as 2. They didn't look at what it was committed at, the time they was committed, the same agency was involved. So right before I left out of prison, after I did my bid, I had started challenging it.
Right.
Because I knew they had this thing called the categorical approach. And what the categorical approach consists of, when they're trying to match those priors up, they're limited to the elements of the offense from the state charge. Like how the state categorize it, they convict you, they're limited to that for the ACCA.
Right.
So what I had done already did my research, and what I had found in the state of Florida, the date on when a crime is committed is not an element. The exact date is not an element. So what I had started doing, all those guys with the ACCA with the drug cases, I went to arguing it. Hey man, the government never proved that I had 3 serious drug felonies committed on occasions different from another. So the first thing the government did, they run and they go to the PSI and they say, no, this offense committed on this date, this offense committed on this date, this offense committed on this date. So therefore, they was committed on different occasions. But how I counted it, I already had Florida Supreme Court cases that said the date was not an element of the offense.
Right. So they had been convicted 3 times.
No, you can't look at nothing that's not an element. So if the date not an element, you got no way to determine when they was committed.
Okay.
So it was a technical argument, but it was a technical argument that they can't get around. It was like being pregnant. It's either you is or you not. You never go meet a woman that's almost pregnant. It's either you is or you ain't. Mm-hmm. So when they had to look to the elements, and if the date not an element, how you gonna look at the date to try to tell me when they was committed?
So how they were catching most guys up out here in the street and charging them with an armed career criminal?
They just look at their record. They were looking at the record. So they say, okay, he got 3 drug priors. Or we know we can ACC him. Or he got 2 drug priors and a crime of violence. We can ACC him. Or he got 3 violent felonies. We can ACC him.
So you got caught with a half ounce in 1990. And
right.
Then you get caught with a pistol till you get caught with an ounce and a pistol in 1990. and then in 98 you get caught with a quarter brick. You go for
Right.
it.
Then they take, and then you get caught with a gun later on. They take all those priors and they ACCA you.
But what if
all
you got
three.
caught with the gun and the crack at the same time?
That's different. That's not you got to be a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. That's the only one that make you susceptible to the ACCA, the Armed Career Criminal Act. You got to be a convicted felon in possession of a firearm or ammunition. It only goes to that charge. If you get caught with a gun and some dope at the same time, you gonna have a different 924. See, the ACCA come under 924E.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get caught with that pistol with dope at the same time, that come under 924C. That carry a consecutive 5 years in prison on top of the dope charge.
Mm-hmm.